to be not in truth will feel more and more toxic to your system. Not because it becomes more toxic, because you're more conscious. And that doesn't feel good, but it's a wonderful, it gets attention, doesn't it? It's like, whoa, this feels so awful. And this was just a little judging thought, nothing huge. It's this little teeny judging thought now feels like somebody just poured poison into my system. It gets us to pay attention, doesn't it? Let me look right now. Is that thought true? Is it real? This is how it feels. It's poison. This is who I become when I believe this thought. And it's innocent. There's no blame in it. It just happens. And seen of it is the acceptance of it. And you're back in harmony. You can feel it. Gratitude, openness. There's no guarantee about the next moment, though. Never is. Never is. It's never a guarantee. But you become comfortable with that.
Thank you.
You know what you always have. You always have the underlying reality, and you always have that ability to look at the thought that caused the trigger.
And even when you said innocence, though, it's not something I could tell myself in that moment.
No. Mm-mm.
It's always just experiencing the results of my own thoughts.
That's right. Couldn't have put it better. And a big part of this is to really perceive, really see what you're just speaking now, that it is not personal at all. It's totally mechanical, isn't it? It happens in the split second, the snap of a finger. At that instant, it's completely mechanical. So if it's mechanical, if it just happens, then you can't sit around there taking great blame for it. Like, why did I do that? Well, you didn't. It was done through you. That doesn't mean you dismiss it, but it means you have a different perspective. You're not blaming yourself for it happening. It makes it easier to look at it, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh, it just happened. Oh. Why blame myself for something that just happened? That's like blaming yourself for breathing. It just happens too, Your heart just beats. Thoughts just think. Nobody's doing any of it. But your system becomes more accustomed. Literally, this thing, your mind and your body, it becomes more accustomed. It becomes more accustomed to living in what's true, in that space of gratitude and happiness and peace. It may not come there overnight in the snap of a finger, but it becomes more accustomed. That becomes what's more and more natural to you. You get the feel. Getting the feel is the most important thing. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
It's all good. Yeah. It's all good. Yeah. Just like, as I said earlier this morning, just like Jesus has said, forgive them for they know not what they do. That's not just them, that's you and me. Forgive me for I know not what I do. In that instant, it just happens. That doesn't mean to go around saying, it just happens, there's nothing I can do, and so da-da-da-da-da. It means it just happens, and this moment of recognizing it just happens too. This moment of a willingness to look at it and inquire into it just happens too. This moment, all of it just happens. But in that space of instant forgiveness, in the realization that all ignorance is innocent, misunderstanding, and spontaneous, it provides a space to look at things. Yeah. Yes, come on up here. And you also realize that this is so much bigger than you and I. This is a human thing. We're taught this. We're taught that the world should be other than it is. That's what we're taught in many, many ways, some overtly, some unconsciously and covertly, but we're literally encultured and socialized into this belief system that things should be different. Humanity has always thought that. It's nothing new. It didn't just come into being with, warming of the planet and all the terrible things that happen. If you study history, throughout all of history, everybody's been thinking things shouldn't be the way they are, right? And so we get on this improvement project. We've been on it for hundreds of years, for thousands of years, improving, right? Improving. Is it making anybody happier? Is it actually working? I'm not saying we shouldn't improve. Improvement's fine. But it's so deep in the collective conditioning of human consciousness that to really, truly contemplate otherwise is almost like a taboo. What would this moment be like if I didn't see it through the eyes of should and shouldn't? What would it be like? Does it make sense? And it can almost be insulting to the ego. The ego says, but that thing that happened yesterday, or last week, or when I was 5 years, that was terrible. You mean it's not true that shouldn't have happened? That's insulting to say that shouldn't have happened. See what I mean? I mean, that's the ingrained thing, much less just a little event, But of course, it seems true, doesn't it? It seems those things should not have happened. Painful things, violent things, cruel things, whatever. It seems like a total insanity, an insult to the entire human race to suggest that it's not true that they shouldn't have happened. But of course, the little problem we all have to deal with is they did. And our little argument doesn't seem to be carrying any weight, does it? It doesn't seem to be it doesn't change what happened. It doesn't change what's happening now. And it doesn't change what's going to happen tomorrow. In fact, when we open our eyes, basically we live in a world of what should and shouldn't be. We believe that believing these ideas of what should and shouldn't be will save us, that we need them to save us and to act better and to act moral and to get along. But when we look at the world, this is the world we have, the human society we've created is a human society which is based in what should and shouldn't be. I think you'd be hard-pressed to come up with a more violent human world than we've got. It's clearly not working. Because we all have different ideas of what should and shouldn't be. We don't agree. We never have agreed. We never will agree. And then that most irrational act of all, just letting it all go. What does that look like? The mind projects what it will look like tomorrow, but what it looks like in the present instant is peace. Oh, actually it's peace. And God forbid we all start acting from a place of peace. Because what we get tomorrow is exactly what we got this moment, isn't it? If we're not at peace right now, if we don't recognize peace now, we aren't going to get to peace tomorrow. Individually or collectively. It's just not going to work. It never has worked. When we realize peace now, then the next moment looks like peace, and the next moment, and we act from a place of peace, which is a place of non-division. We respond to life from that place. We move from that place. We're motivated from that place. We act from that. It doesn't mean you just sit on your couch going, I'm at peace. That's a false peace. Our actions come from peace. Our responses come from peace.